I don't think Billy Gunn cares who he gets a piece of. He just wants someone.
And we know the crowd would love to see him bury a fist right in the face of Brandon Scott. Here we go.
Bell sounds, we're underway. Tag team action here at the 2017 Lutz Memorial Cup. The VCW Heavyweight Champion, Badass Billy Gunn and Benjamin Banks, taking on the former champion Brandon Scott and Kevin Thorn. And before Billy Gunn can make any contact with Brandon Scott, he immediately tags in Thorn. And that size advantage is thrown right out the window.
Well, for Brandon Scott, that's got to be the gameplay. Got Kevin Thorn here as the hired muscle. Let the hired muscle do his job. Work him down. Beat him up. Just really wear him down. Come in and do your thing. Get the victory and really start boosting your own ego again.
As Gunn goes to take a swipe at Brandon Scott. You have to wonder the psyche of Brandon Scott. In there with the man that defeated him. And he's not even acting serious as Billy Gunn. And Brandon Scott on his heels wanting to regain that title.
Oh, Gunn's under his skin already without a doubt. May even have Brandon Scott's number.
And Gunn tells Thorn exactly where to meet him.
Thorn not much amused by that. And there we see the confidence of Billy Gunn. I mean, just like you said, enjoying life, loving where he's at, and it's hard to be upset when you're the heavyweight champion.
And finally, these two behemoths will lock it up. Thorn, all 270 of him. Billy Gunn, 265. These guys, just about the same size. Gunn hitting the gym extra hard over the last week, knowing that he will need as much strength as possible here against Kevin Thorn. As Gunn backed into the corner, and Thorn will indeed give him a clean break.
But a lengthy break at that. And Thorn not backing down an inch.
As Gunn, we know he has the crowd support.
There we go.
Benjamin Banks, again. We know he wants to get his hands on Brandon Scott. He already got his hands on Jerry Stefanitsis. There's the Irish whip. And like two freight trains colliding, neither man moves, but Thorn gets the best of Gunn right there. That shoulder tackle backs him into his corner. And the vampire, Kevin Thorn, showing how strong he is.
And Billy Gunn will take a second here, caught off guard a little bit by that shoulder tackle, I think. Getting some words of encouragement from his tag partner, Benjamin Banks. And Banks firing off some words towards Brandon Scott, telling him he's scared to even get in the ring with Billy Gunn. And there may be some truth behind that.
Very well could be. As Thorn and Gunn here still in a bit of a feeling out process. But I understand these two men are very familiar with one another. Though this is their first encounter in Vanguard Championship Wrestling.
Kevin Thorn getting the better of that collision again. And Brandon Scott looks very, very pleased with his man out there in the ring right now.
As Thorn off the ropes. And Gunn with the European uppercut. And Thorn right back with an elbow of his own. Oh, Gunn.
And Billy Gunn about an early finish there.
A couple of, as Thorn drops him throat first across that top rope. I was going to say Gunn picking up a couple moves from his trip to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And the discus clothesline there by Kevin Thorn takes out the Badass. And the VCW champion now trying to make the tag, but Kevin Thorn and Brandon Scott are in control. And here comes Mr. Xcellence.
And just like we expected, Kevin Thorn doing the damage, Brandon Scott coming in to collect the glory.
As Gunn goes for a shot there on Scott and connects with the big super kick on Thorn.
Is this it already?
But remember, he's not the legal man.
Oh, the tag was already made.
Indeed
Brilliant
it was.
move.
Thorn is out, but again, that does not matter at this juncture. As Brandon Scott, you see him there on the near side of the ring.
What a brilliant and also cowardly move by Brandon Scott, getting out of the ring knowing he's a legal man.
As Thorn trying to collect his thoughts, pull himself to his feet, but remember, he's not even a legal man. As Scott on the outside, shades of their heavyweight title match back at a Nightmare on Granby Street. Brandon Scott
resets the count.
Certainly slowing things down to his pace in that matchup.
5 minutes have elapsed. 25 minutes remaining.
Now, ordinarily, I wouldn't be wild about that slowing it down, but he is buying Kevin Thorn time to recover, and he is still shaking up from that huge kick to the face, and now it's big Benjamin Banks in there.
For the first time in this matchup, Benjamin Banks has entered. He will hook it up with Kevin Thorn. But Banks does have about 150 pounds on the Vampire, and you see that right there. And look at the confidence of Benjamin Banks.
Lands him again.
And the pinkies are up.
And Kevin Thorn needs a new game plan, and he needs it right now, because that ain't working. Oh, Banks is telling him to bring that all day.
And Banks takes him down with a shoulder tackle.
Oh, it's like getting hit with a car in the corner.
Oh, and Banks with the forearm. He makes contact with Brandon Scott. And look at Banks with ease. Takes him down with the scoop slam.
And are we going to see it? There it is.
The money shuffle off the ropes. And the big 747. 1, 2. And if Brandon Scott does not break that up, Wes, I do believe this match would have been over.
Oh, yeah, that had to be it.
And Billy Gunn giving chase to Brandon Scott. Scott back in the ring.
And Brandon Scott keeping their chances alive here.
As Brandon Scott. And there's a low blow. The entire crowd saw it. But the most important man, referee Jared Hartman, had his back turned. As Billy Gunn chomping at the bit here, trying to get back in this matchup. The tag is made to Brandon Scott.
And now we see Brandon Scott. Yeah, okay.
As he picks up the pieces and takes it right to Benjamin Banks. As the referee here having his hands full.
And Brandon Scott looking quite confident and quite pleased with himself now.
And Scott, look at the aggressiveness here. Taking it right to his former mate. They were tag team partners. Lateral press 1-2 as Banks pushes him way off. But along with Jerry Stefanitsis, that trio dominated VCW for a very long time.
Yes, absolutely. You know, these two men are very familiar with each other's styles, even the more subtle nuances of the game. But like you said, that X Factor, Kevin Thorn in there now.
As Kevin Thorn
just lighting Benjamin Banks up.
Taking it right to Banks. Off the ropes. And look at the power, all 270 of Kevin Thorn.
Drops Banks with that clothesline. Gunn's looking refreshed, looking for a tag, but the control now over Benjamin Banks.
Smart move by Thorn to cut the ring in half and bring Banks right to the side of him and Brandon Scott. Mr. Xcellence gets the tag in. And here comes a rocket launcher. 1, 2. It wasn't beautiful Bobby and sweet Stan, but Kevin Thorn and Brandon Scott working in unison right here.
Yeah, working together really, really well. I mean, we've seen Brandon Scott break the 10 count up to buy his man time to recover. And then, of course, the low blow, obviously not sanctioned, but now they're in control from that. So fighting dirty, but fighting smart.
Brandon Scott always finding a way to create an opening and exploit an advantage. But right now he tries to pie-face Big Money Banks. But Banks grabs him here. There's a scoop slam.
And let's see it again, Banks. Let's see it again.
Scott in a world of hurt. And Banks, one more time.
This is definitely not what Scott was looking to do, is have momentum.
Pinky's up,
he was in.
Off the ropes, but Kevin Thorn kicks him right in the kidney. Scott with the enziguri. And the drop kick is going to take Banks down. There's a tag back into Thorn. Banks had an opportunity to tag in the VCW Heavyweight Champion, and he probably should have utilized that opportunity.
Yeah, and again, the cohesiveness here between Scott and Thorn really, really taking advantage of that. You know, Banks and Gunn, not a lot of history together. Obviously, the first time they've been together here. Thorn and Scott looking like a much more cohesive unit. Banks shows now. Banks on his back.
Slips that shoulder up at 2. And now the crowd trying to rally behind Benjamin Banks.
Ten minutes have elapsed. 20 minutes remaining.
This is a 30-minute time limit. We're officially 10 minutes in. And Benjamin Banks,
Thorn here.
I'm not exactly sure how much longer he can last here, Wes.
Well, I can't say I like the strategy by
But Banks falls on top. Lateral press. The referee a bit out of position.
I think he was calling Banks for having his arm underneath the shoulder.
Heads up move there by the official. But there's the tag into Brandon Scott. And look at Brandon Scott mocking Billy Gunn. As you have to think those two are on a collision course sometime in early 2018 for that VCW heavyweight title.
Well, the way they're eyeballing each other now, we might get it before then, Blake.
As Scott has Banks in position. He's putting him up. And Billy Gunn getting a little overzealous here, getting out of the corner. But Brandon Scott measures him up there. Thought he was going for the slice of excellence. Instead, the finger poke right to the eye as he mocks the VCW heavyweight champion. And I'll tell you what, Wes, Brandon Scott might be biting off far more than he can chew in this contest.
Well, he's splitting his attention between both competitors. Never a smart thing to do here. However, the damage done to Banks now, I mean, he's been on the ground now for several minutes. I mean, trying to collect himself. Gunn trying to get the support behind him, but the beatdown has been tremendous.
Kevin Thorn mocking the money shuffle. Come on now. And Billy Gunn nearly enticed back in the ring.
Nobody home for Kevin Thorn.
Goes for the big splash, but Banks moves out of the way. Benjamin Banks is down. Kevin Thorn is down. Both men need to make a tag. This tag team blockbuster hanging in the balance here at the 2017 Lutz Memorial Cup.
That's back-to-back maneuvers by Kevin Thorn. One, trying to lift Banks, not smart, and stealing your opponent's move. He's got to know what's coming next.
Scott reaching for Thorn. Banks makes the tag. Here comes the VCW heavyweight champion. And Brandon Scott
Has abandoned his teammate.
Wait a minute.
Gunn's going after him.
He grabs him. And Billy Gunn says, "You're not going anywhere." Brandon Scott, he's taken down with a series of clotheslines. Wes, Brandon Scott was trying to bail on Kevin Thorn.
Absolutely, left his man high and dry. Now, Thorn here, through some bizarre sense of loyalty, breaking it up, getting Gunn off of Brandon Scott.
Kevin Thorn perhaps wants the next crack at the VCW heavyweight title as Brandon Scott tries to crawl to safety. Now Thorn
Dismissing Banks, and that rope goes again.
dumps Banks to the outside.
And Blake, we have seen it all tonight. Crowd is absolutely thrilled by it.
Thorn looks like he's going to set him up here for perhaps a cheap shot by Brandon Scott. Oh! Nobody home. Gunn kicks him in the midsection. Off the ropes goes for the famouser. Thorn goes for the choke slam. Scott bails on him again. Maybe the famouser. Famouser. Here we go. Hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3.
The time of the fall, 13 minutes and 48 seconds. Your winners, Benjamin Banks and the VCW Heavyweight Champion, Billy Gunn!
So again, the ring ends up breaking. Billy Gunn, he's looking for Brandon Scott with the story here, Wes.